A very good morning to all the Form 5 students and also Form 4 students for additional maths. Today, I would like to spend about half an hour to discuss this chapter. Okay, this is chapter 2, quadratic functions for Form 4 KSSM. But I guess this topic is very important to all the additional math students, especially the Form 5 students that going to sit for SPM next year 2021. Okay, so I think you should follow this lesson so that you can have a good understanding of the concept of quadratic functions, which is very important. Okay, quadratic functions is considered a very tough topic for all the additional math students. All right, so now I'd like to take the opportunity to share to you why is it so tough, because it involves concept. Okay, so let's see today's objective is to solve the quadratic equation using method of completing the square. Okay, completing the square is very important, so you must make sure you can complete the square before you sit for your SPM next year. So today I would like to share with you what is the concept of completing the square. Okay, I will also teach you how to form the quadratic equation from the given roots, maybe for next lesson. Maybe I will teach you how to solve the quadratic inequalities. We got many ways to solve. This part I think many students are very weak. So I will spend a few a few minutes, okay, maybe a few hours to discuss further, okay, to prepare the video teaching to teach you the concept of quadratic inequalities. I'll try my best, okay. And for this topic also we have roots of quadratic equation, and we need to relate types of roots of quadratic equation to the discriminant value. This part is very popular in SPM exam, and many students cannot recall the concept. So I will try to make a few videos for this if I am free, okay. So we also must know how to solve the problems involving types of roots of quadratic equation, okay. Type of roots is very important in SPM exam, in the coming exam. Alright, so the most important one is this one. Okay, you need to know how to analyze and make generalization about the effect of change of ABC for the quadratic function towards the shape and position of graph. This one is more important for KSSM students. And also you must know how to relate the position of the graph of quadratic function with type of roots. This is very important to all the Form 5 students. Type of the roots and how to relate the position of the graph of quadratic functions. This is very tough for many students, I know. Okay, and you have to know how to relate the vertex form of quadratic function, okay, with the function given, okay, with the other forms of quadratic, okay, function. So for this part I will discuss further for the coming video. I hope I can make it before your SPM exam. So I try my best. So let's before I start with more details for this topic, I'd like to share with you a video about the completing the square. Let's have a look of the video for this coming lesson. Okay, so we will continue with the topic after the video. Alright, let's enjoy the video now. Okay, have fun. Okay, now we'll start the quadratic functions. Quadratic function is a very important topic to all the Form 4 and Form 5 students. So this topic, I guess many students still wondering how to do because you actually got many misconceptions. So today I would like to teach you about the quadratic function in details. Okay, so I will make a few videos for this topic. Okay. So because this topic is actually the toughest topic out of so many topics in Form 4. So let's see what will be learned. Okay, so quadratic equation, I guess you all got no problem. But inequalities, you have problem, I know. And the type of roots of the quadratic equation, some of you cannot recall the concept because you don't understand. Okay, and then the quadratic functions. Okay, quadratic function, we got many concepts involved. So I will actually try my best to make you understand through video teaching. So please follow my channel for the coming video. Alright. So for all the Form 5 students, you must make sure you really understand the concept, okay, of the quadratic function, and make sure you can complete the square before you go for SPM exam next year. Okay. So once you know how to complete the square, then you will be very confident in exam hall. Okay. So I wish you good luck first. Alright. Now I'm going to discuss the basic first for quadratic function. Let's go through the important keywords. Okay. There are many keywords that you must master well before you study the chapter. Okay, one is actually the completing the square. What it means by completing the square. So you can refer to my video just now. Okay, my video just now actually explain the meaning. Okay, it's very meaningful of the completing the square. Alright, so you must have the perfect square. Alright, that's why you need to plus something, right? And then you have to minus out something that you need to square it. Alright, so you also must understand what it means by root. The root here, actually, it doesn't mean the root of the 3. It means that x, okay, x values. But the x value here is referring to x-intercept. When your function is equal to 0. In other words, meaning that when the function, or sometimes we don't say function, we say the graph. We don't say the graph, we say what? The y. Okay, we can say the y, the function, or the quadratic function. Or we can say the curve, or the curly line, cut the x-axis. So we want the values whereby the curve cut the x-axis. So when the curve cuts the x-axis, so your function fx is equal to 0. Okay, if I say fx equal to 0, you don't understand. I say let y equal to 0. Same thing, right? Okay, so there are many keywords more. I will explain in detail next lesson. So this topic is very useful, not only to science student, to business accounting student also very important because maximum and minimum is actually very important to us. So from here, let's go through the story of satellite dish has the ability to converge the energy on its focal point. Satellite, television, radar, and telecommunication tower are examples of objects which focus on the properties of refraction of parabola. Parabola is actually meaning that U-shape or N-shape. Small or sad face. Okay, so the word parabola referring to the curve of the quadratic function and shape or U-shape. Alright, make sure you understand the parabola. So okay, we will discuss more on this in our next lesson. So if you want to know further, you can scan the QR code about the history of the ancient times. Archimedes, okay, helped the Greek army by using parabolic mirrors to touch the military ships of Rome who were trying to conquer the Greek town. So you can see how important is the quadratic function, right? Parabolic mirrors, okay? So now it sounds very interesting. So let's focus on our chapter now. So I'm going to explain to you, okay, the meaning of the quadratic function and the type of the roots, and later you need to know what is discriminant, and also you must know what is the position of the graph based on the discriminant, and finally you must know how to sketch the quadratic function. So all these actually involving maximum and minimum points, and once we need maximum or minimum points, we must know how to complete the square, right? So for today's lesson, I will focus on solving quadratic equation by using the method of completing the square. And I'm sure the quadratic formula you have no problem. So most of the situations that take place in our daily lives are associated with equations. One of the equations is the quadratic equations. Okay, consider the situation given. There is a photo frame. The area of rectangular picture frame is 100 centimeter square. If the length is 3 centimeter longer than its width, write an equation which satisfies the situation. This is a hard question. They give you a photo frame. Okay, so you need to think based on the photo frame. So the keyword is area of rectangular. So based on the area, we have to find the width and length for the rectangular shape, and then we just multiply length and width to get the area, right? So we will take the x times x plus 3 is equal to 100 centimeter square. And then you need to arrange in general form, okay? So the general form of quadratic equation is you have to arrange in order whereby the coefficient of the x square is a, okay, so the a here is 1, and the coefficient of the x is b, so the b here is 3, and the one with number only is called constant, or we call as c. Okay, so for a general form of quadratic equation is always equal to 0 at the right hand side, and we prefer our a positive, right? You can write negative, no problem, but we prefer the coefficient of the x square positive, so it will make the solving problem easier if you stay positive. Okay, so that is how you solve the quadratic equation, okay, by using the information given. So I'm sure for quadratic equation you got no problem. So I will just focus on the quadratic function for today. So before that, I need to explain to you the meaning of the root of the quadratic equation. Okay, the root is very important. So we will do inquiry to make sure you understand, to make sure you really understand what it means by the root of the quadratic function. Okay, so somehow you will wonder what is quadratic function and what is quadratic equation. So if you really go through the inquiry, you will have a better understanding what it means by the root of the quadratic function. Okay, so it doesn't mean that quadratic equation is nothing to do with quadratic function. Okay, quadratic equation is actually part of the quadratic function. When the quadratic equation happen, when the quadratic function cut the x-axis, okay? So that means when the quadratic function or quadratic graph or the curly line or the U shape or N shape cut the x-axis, the moment it cut the x-axis or touch the x-axis, then we say it got the x values. So that x value is actually the roots. So we obtain the roots from the quadratic function by letting the y equal to 0 or fx equal to 0. Understand? So that is why when you do quadratic function, you cannot simply equal to 0. When you will equal to 0, when the quadratic function intersect with the x-axis. Okay, when it intersect with the x-axis, the y is equal to 0 or fx equal to 0. So that values of x or value of x will be the roots of the quadratic function. Of course, you also have quadratic function that does not cut or does not touch the x-axis at all. So that type of quadratic function, we say it got no roots. Okay, no roots. So I'm going to show you the inquiry now. So let's study the graph and then study the point where the curve or the quadratic function cut the x-axis. Okay, you will notice that there are 2 points for this example that I'm going to show you now. Okay, let's have a look. Have fun. Okay, this is example of the Geogebra. So we need to click the point, okay, button and mark A and B. All right, point A and point B actually are the intersection between the quadratic function given there y equal to 3x squared plus 11x minus 4 with the x-axis. Okay, so now I'm going to zoom bigger for you to have a look. So the pink color line we call as quadratic function. Okay, actually it's a U shape. So now I'm going to show you the points that we call as roots of the quadratic function. So I will go to the pink line. Okay, I will show you the point. The blue point now is touching at the, still not the root yet, I'm finding the right root. It must be intersect exactly between the x-axis and the pink color curve. So I'm still finding the point A and the point B. So now I still haven't got the intersection yet. So for the point A, yes, I got the intersection already, which is -4. And you notice that I will put -4 and 0. Why 0? Because it's on the x-axis. So at the x-axis, the y is 0. So the point A is -4, 0. Okay, that is x-intercept. So that means the roots is x equal to -4. And I also find, I'm having difficulty to find the other point. I have to make sure it's exactly intersect between the pink line and the x-axis. So I found out is actually exactly pink line and the x-axis is 0.33 and 0. Yes, that is the other x-intercept. Okay, x-intercept. So we have point A, which is -4, 0, and we have point B, which is 0.33, 0. Okay, these 2 points are the x-intercept, and the values of x equal to -4 and x equal to 0.33 are so-called roots of the quadratic function. Understand? So the root of the quadratic function, it means that the x-intercept of the quadratic function, or you can say the 2 points whereby the quadratic function cut the x-axis or intersect with the x-axis. Okay, so it's always y equal to 0. So whenever we say find the roots of the quadratic function, we will let y equal to 0. Okay, remember that y must be 0 because on the x-axis y must be 0. And we can actually find the minimum point using the graph, but it's very hard for us to determine the minimum point. So later for the next video, I'll show you how to find the minimum point using completing the square. Okay, we'll use the completing the square to find the minimum point, because it's not easy to use a graph to find the minimum point. So it's actually better to use a formula x equal to negative b over 2a. Okay, now let's see how to solve the problem here using the completing the square. I give you two questions. So you have learned how to solve the quadratic equation using factorization, right? Okay, you also learn how to use formula. So today we will learn how to use a completing the square. And using formula, I guess you got no problem. So let's see this example. Solve the following quadratic equation using completing the square. So you are given x squared plus 4x minus 7 equal to 0, right? One question. And the other one is negative 3x squared plus 6x minus 1 equal to 0, right? So, okay, follow the step. The first step is you must move the constant term to the right-hand side of the equation. Okay, the number bring to the right-hand side. And then you add the term. The term you add is coefficient of the x, but must divide by 2. Okay, and must square. So remember, divide by 2 and then square. Okay, they are 2, 2. So, okay, so that means you will take your coefficient of x is your b, actually 4 lah, your 4. 4 divided by 2, right? So, okay, so you add 4 divided by 2 square. So, x squared plus 4x plus 4 over 2 square, or add the both sides, 7 plus 4 over 2 square, both sides. And then you simplify. So once you add the b over 2 square, the left hand side already completed the square. So you just simplify the right hand side. And then you just solve it by using square root. So once you square root, make sure you got two answers, plus and minus, okay? Then you should have two answers, right? So for the question that actually with the number in front of the x squared, you have to make sure you divide. Okay, you must make sure you divide and until you get your coefficient of the x squared is 1. Then after that you will do the same thing. Okay, so I hope you try to do okay on your own. So I prepare a few questions for you to do for completing the square. By using formula, you can try also. I guess you got no problem. So there are a few exercises given. So try to do on your own. And I guess there are a few hot questions also. I try to prepare the answer for you so that you can self-check your answer. Alright, so please enjoy doing maths now and have fun. Okay, enjoy your hot question, especially because the hot question will make you more active, more happy. Okay, so you will actually found that hot question will make the study more interesting. Okay, right, so these are the exercises that I prepare for you. You try to do 1, 2, 3, 4, and especially the 3 and 4 are the hot question, right? So, okay, have fun, enjoy doing maths now. Okay, my dear students, that's all for today. I love you. Bye. Have a nice day.